Hi, I'm Anna Denton-Jones of Refreshing Law Limited, and in our last session we were talking about apprenticeships and the law relating to that area and why it's very important that you don't get caught under the quite arcane law relating to apprenticeship contracts. Instead, we talked about wanting to be governed by the new regime of apprenticeship agreements that are governed by the Apprenticeship Skills, Children and Learning Act of 2009. So in this session, I want to take you through what you have to do to ensure that you are coming within that framework. The first thing that your written documentation relating to an apprentice needs to cover off is that they're undertaking to do work for you. That should be quite straightforward. The document itself needs to be in a prescribed form. There are apprenticeship regulations of 2012 that deal with that, but in a nutshell, it's the same information that you want to have in writing as you are required to have under Section 1 of the Employment Rights Act in respect of any of your employees. So think of all the basics like the hours of work, how they're going to be paid, whether they get overtime, where they're going to be based, all your rules relating to things like disciplinary procedures and grievances, whether or not they get a pension, all of that sort of good stuff. But the different bit that you need to have in the apprenticeship agreement is a statement regarding the trade or the skill or the occupation that the apprentice is hopefully going to acquire as a result of going through the apprenticeship process with you. There also needs to be a statement in it that the relationship is governed by the law of England and Wales. Now, if you're using a Section 1 sort of statement of terms and conditions, it may be that your precedent that you're using isn't formal enough to have included that kind of jurisdiction clause. The last element is that the document has to state that it's entered into in connection with a qualifying apprenticeship framework. So that's very, very important. That's often the bit that people miss. Now, I am able to provide a template agreement if anybody is interested. In particular, my advice would be that such an agreement deals with lots of other things that perhaps aren't governed by those legal rules, things like the requirement of the apprentice to attend college. What happens if they stop attending college or they don't hand their assignments in on time, or you start getting feedback from the college that perhaps their academic or college conduct isn't perhaps up to the scratch that the college would like it to be. How are those things going to be handled? How are you going to handle things like performance management for the apprentice? Is there going to be some sort of mentoring or coaching? Are you going to sit down with that person on a regular basis and sort of talk them through what is expected in the workplace? Other things that you need to be thinking about in this area include things like fixed term contract regulations, because you may well be employing the apprenticeship on a fixed term basis. Working time rules and regulations are going to apply just as much to this worker as anybody else. So think about that when it comes to holidays, breaks, all those sorts of things. National minimum wage is going to apply. Obviously, there are special apprenticeship rates within that, but you still need to make sure you are complying with national minimum wage rules. And also the issue of age discrimination. Traditionally it was the case that perhaps we set a certain age band around apprenticeship, and obviously that can be contrary to the age discrimination rules, so we need to make sure that you are fitting within that regime as well. If anyone's got any questions about this session, please don't hesitate to email me, adenton@refreshinglawltd, all one word, .co.uk. Thanks.